So it seems there is a in this group, you're doing a practice of Shenrezig Avalokiteshvara once a month, and some of the people ask me whether they should receive some kind of a transmission of those. Generally speaking, the Vajrayana practices, usually sadhanas and things like that, you usually need to receive empowerment, and if not, at least reading transmission. So I'm giving you a reading transmission. A reading transmission means just I read it and you listen to it. So I'll read it in Tibetan, so you can sleep. It's short anyway. So this is permission to read the text. Another is the Ringu practice, and I'll just give the first permissions. So about meditation. What kind of meditation shall we talk about? So, yesterday we talked about the meditation very generally, and especially, kind of a very introduction type, kind of very basic thing. But it seems that there are lots of people here who have been doing lots of practice for a long time. Maybe there are new ones also, I don't know, but and it seems you have been in this place also doing some Vajrayana practices like Sharizit. I heard that you do a practice of Sharizit every fourth weekend, or fourth Monday. Last Monday of the month. So, as I said yesterday, all the, in Buddhism, every meditation has to be kind of categorized within these two categories, shamatha meditation and vipassana meditation. Shamatha meditation is, as I said, to make our mind calm and clear, to make our mind more pliable, more tamed, more, it does as what I want it to do. That's the shamatha meditation for. By doing shamatha meditation, we should have our mind a little bit more, under control, more calmer, meaning that I can relax more. I can, allow my thoughts and emotions to come and go without, totally kind of overpowering myself. That's the main purpose of this meditation. Vipassana meditation is more what we call as insight meditation. Vipassana is the Sanskrit word. Vi is a prefix. Prefix which says which kind of when it is added to a word, then it makes it very much, very much more complete, extra things like that. So pasha means seeing, more seeing or more clearly seeing or fully seeing, vipassana. Now seeing here is used seeing because it's a meditation on how to see or how to experience yourself and phenomena, everything as it is, to really, a method, a way to see things as they really are. That's the, vipassana. Now, here it's called seeing because it's not, it's not just having an understanding or concept. Because, to have a kind of, it's not a philosophy. It's not about philosophizing. It's not just studying or, coming to a logical conclusion of how things might be. It's not just that. It's more experiential. That's why the word seeing is used. Because seeing is direct, is kind of a perception, not a concept. So therefore, vipassana is, to have an experiential understanding of how, what am I and what everything is, what's their nature, the way it really is. What is the true reality of everything. The meditation about that is vipassana. So therefore, vipassana meditation is much more deeper, much more difficult, and it is said that if you have got the vipassana meditation, right completely, then you are kind of freed from what we call the samsaric state of mind. You are totally liberated. You become enlightened, what they call sometimes. So therefore, vipassana is the longer part, the more kind of difficult part. So all meditations has to be either of these two categories. And in one way, it's not really two things. It's just, there's no kind of a complete kind of a mark or border that up to this is shamatha and from here is vipassana. It's not really, it's completely separate also. Because the more your mind becomes calmer, the more you can see what it is. So therefore, a good shamatha meditation is the basis or the beginning of a good, vipassana meditation. And sometimes vipassana meditation brings shamatha. Because there are many different ways of doing. Some traditions, in Tibetan Buddhism also, some traditions insist that first you have to do shamatha meditation and lots of shamatha meditation, and only if your shamatha meditation is really kind of grounded or stabilized, then you can start with the vipassana meditation. There are others who say that there's nothing wrong starting together. You do a little bit of shamatha, a little bit of vipassana, and try to kind of help each other, and then progress. There's others also who said that, shamatha meditation is just wastage of time. You just try to control your mind, which doesn't happen anyway. And then go direct to the vipassana, and then from here your mind will become more settled anyway. So, so there are different kind of methods. It doesn't matter too much, I think. It is also, whether you can have some understanding of vipassana or not, it depends. If you really have a certain understanding of the vipassana, then of course that's the best. That will bring shamatha also, or shamatha becomes part of that. But if we do not have a little bit of understanding of vipassana, then samatha is also very good, because at least we learn how to be a little bit, let our mind and tamed, or a little bit learn how to relax. And this is also very important, I think, especially nowadays when we are so busy and our mind is so busy especially. Yeah. So I think it is very important that we learn how to relax a little bit, how to let be a little bit. And there, I think samatha becomes very important. And in some traditions, like the mindful meditations, actually vipassana meditation starts with what we call as four mindfulness. That's very, very traditional. It's taught during Buddha's time. It's taught later on in every tradition. It's in the sutras and things like that. So the first mindfulness is what we call the mindfulness of the body. And second mindfulness is called mindfulness of the feeling. And third mindfulness is called mindfulness of the mind. And fourth mindfulness is called the mindfulness of the phenomena. Phenomena here is dharma. Sometimes in Sanskrit we call it dharma. The dharma here is not kind of dharma and adharma, like the path dharma. It's not the path dharma. Dharma here is everything that I can think about. Dharma has many different meanings in Sanskrit. Actually, it has 10 different meanings in Sanskrit. I don't want to go into all these 10 different meanings, but one of them is that everything that I can think about, which includes things that exist and things that doesn't exist. Everything, even those that doesn't exist, I can think about. Say like a horn of a rabbit. I can think about the horn of a rabbit, although it doesn't exist. That's a dharma. So things like that. So to understand, or to have the understanding or clear, know how, the reality, to see the reality of all the dharmas. Now, when you start with the mindfulness of the body, then the samatha and vipassana merge, because sometimes you're just aware of the body, and there are many, like vipassana traditions, which sometimes comes from Burma and things like that, which is called the vipassana meditation, taught by one Indian great meditation master called Goenka, and many others from that tradition. They emphasize mainly on the mindfulness of the body and mindfulness of the feeling, where you kind of your mind is you just relax and then feel, or just be aware of the body sensations, or breathing and things like that, and be just mindful, as we discussed yesterday and this morning. That's the mindfulness of the body, and mindfulness of the feeling is to kind of to see if there is a feeling or any feeling that happens in our body from our kind of top of the, from crown to the feet, and then, wherever there's a feeling, you allow mind to pinpoint where exactly is that feeling. And so therefore it kind of, when you, even if we have a kind of a pain somewhere, when you really look at the pain and see where exactly it is, you find that there's not one place it exists. It kind of disappears. So all feelings are like that. All feelings are like that. Everything is, when you really look at something, pinpoint, there's nothing there. It kind of. But this is not to understand in a conceptual way, but do it in an experiential way. The Tibetan Buddhism very much emphasizes the mindfulness of the mind, especially like teachings of the Mahamudra, Dzogchen. All these very much emphasize on the mindfulness of the mind, to really learn or experience what is the nature of the mind. When you talk about the mind, we are talking about the whole, whole kind of experience. I think we can say that whole experience, that experiencing thing, that we have. It includes the thinking mind. It includes the emotions. It includes the, kind of subconscious, unconscious, deeper level, different levels of consciousness. The whole of our, I don't know what you call it, psyche, if you want to call it, whatever that is experiencing, that's called the mind, in a very broad thing. So when we look at what that is, what is it that is the one which experiences, which kind of thinks, have experience, knows, sometimes we talk about senses, the sixth sense, five senses, six senses, and things like that. So all those. So therefore, when we look at the mind, then what is what is it? Where is it? What is the nature of it? So you can see how much it's the mind, Immediately I get fear, and immediately I get tense, and immediately I go down with my head first. And it's like that, I'm totally tense, I cannot relax, I don't know how to relax, because, the more, immediately the fear comes up, it's like that. So therefore, learning how to relax is not easy thing. It's very, because when you can let go of the fear, then only you can relax, really. And that's quite a difficult thing to do. That's not easy, especially in difficult situations. So therefore, it's a big practice. It's an important practice, I think. So therefore, when we try to meditate, or it's not necessarily only when we sit down and kind of like meditation. But I think this is something that we need to, carry in our life. work on ourselves all the time. And of course, the more I can understand what I am and the nature of my mind, the nature of the phenomena, it helps a little bit also in a way, in a certain way. Based on that, then it's not just the theory, but the more I can really, what we call the longest journey is from your head to your heart, they say. Head is understanding. Heart is actually experiencing. So that is the practicing. That's the practice. So therefore, then, if you are, I don't know where you are, if you are only able to do some samatha meditation, that's also very good, I think. If you are able to do some little bit of mindfulness and go a little bit into the vipassana, that's also very good. But then there is other things like Sandazi practice, which is also, this kind of practices also is very useful. It is sometimes called using the result as the path. Using the result as the path. That's what we call it. The method that's used. What we call in the Vajrayana. What we mean by result as the path is that first we have the concept of Sandazi. To give an example. Sandazi is supposed to be the embodiment of compassion. Embodiment of compassion means the compassion, all the compassion put together. There's also a story, but it is more a concept. The story is that there was one person who was so loving and so compassionate to all the people, all the beings, that he said, I must bring all the people throughout the space to the lasting peace and happiness and free them from every kind of suffering. And until that happens, I will not myself become free. And that resolution was so strong, so complete, dedication was so strong, that he worked on this, not only years, but life after life after life, for eons and eons and eons. And therefore he became the kind of symbol of compassion. He's not a Buddha. He didn't want to become. Of course, he became a Buddha. Because whether you become a Buddha or not is not about, I want to become a Buddha and I don't want to become a Buddha. When somebody's compassion and wisdom is totally developed, completely, then you are a Buddha, whether you want it or not. So therefore, Sandazi is a Buddha, but doesn't want to be called a Buddha. Because I'm not a Buddha, I don't want to be Buddha. Therefore, he's sometimes called the father of all the Buddhas, because during his kind of long time of working for the beings, all the Buddhas now, a long time, was caused by him or helped by him. So this is the story. But the main thing is not about the story. Main thing is that I feel, or I think, or I have an idea of somebody like that. Somebody totally compassionate and totally, wise, and have the energy and, capacity to help all the beings. So therefore, when I feel that as my kind of ideal, I feel the presence of someone like that. Say like, how do I learn to love? Nobody told us, nobody gave us a lesson on how to love. No? We just learned it. Because our parents loved us? No. Because we have people who love us? So from that we picked, because of their experience, because of our experience of receiving that love. The more we receive love, the more we know how to love. So this is an experience. This is, you can call it transmission if you like. Experiential, that we feel, and through feeling we learn. So, our parents love, or our, kind of loved ones love. From that we learn how to love. But that love or that person is not necessarily perfect. So we find a perfect kind of love. We imagine, we visualize, we feel. We can feel the love of our parents or our loved one. And then we know what love means, what kindness means, what love means, what compassion means. And then we kind of multiply it. We multiply that into, many kind of thousands, million folds. And then we can imagine what the limitless love can be. So we feel that Shedzik is someone who has that kind of love, that kind of equal love to all the beings. That kind of, not only love, but also the wisdom, and also the healing capacity, energy to change and transform everybody. And if I can feel that, if I can feel the presence of someone like that, and then if my mind is concentrated on that, if my mind is focused on that, if that becomes the focus of my meditation, what happens? The two things happen. One is that I'm doing my meditation, shamatha. My mind is not distracted, and my mind is not, not kind of in a dumb situation, in a dull situation. So therefore, my mind is in meditation. But at the same time, I also feel, who is feeling that, that kind of lovingness, that quality? My mind is feeling. So therefore, I'm exercising, I'm training on transforming my habitual tendency into a compassionate, loving kindness. So therefore, when I'm doing that, not only that, but if I can imagine not only compassion, but wisdom and the healing power, then it's more, it's more, because the most important part of our training, our practice of Dharma, of our, transformation, is habitual tendencies, the deep down. So that is something that I have to feel. I have really to feel and feel as if I am. It's like that. Not just a thing. Thinking doesn't go deeply. Feeling goes much deeper. So I feel that loving kindness and compassion and wisdom and energy. And not only that, but I also feel the presence of all the beings, all the sentient beings around me. Not just, my own people, my loved ones, my family, my parents, my children, my friends, but also everybody of this country, everybody of all this world, all the human beings, of all different, everybody. From the Buddhist point of view, we never differentiate. Oh, I'm Buddhist, maybe I cannot pray for a Christian. It's not like that. A Christian or a Muslim or whoever is as much human as I am, exactly the same. They also want happiness, they also want to be free from suffering, exactly the same. Not different, it's just a concept. I'm a Buddhist, it's a concept. I'm a Christian, it's a concept. It's nothing more than that. And then not only that, but everybody, all different kind of, races, or different kind of colors, or different kind of genders, everybody. And not only that, but everybody, like animals, animals, other realms, every being who is there, not only in this world, but throughout the space. I feel all of them together with me, like, like in one boat, like one family. And there, then I feel, I say the mantra, and I feel that when you say the mantra, what you say, mantra is Om Mani Padme Hum. Om is said to be the beginning of all the sounds. When you say beginning of all the sounds, is like before you make any sounds, any kind of vowels or the consonants or any kind of, you have to say what? No, that's Om. Yeah. So Om. So that's the beginning of all the sounds. But anyway, Mani Padme. Mani Padme. I'm not going to. Om can be also a long thing, long description, but doesn't matter. Mani in Sanskrit means jewel. Jewel. And Padma means lotus. Jewel represents the compassion. Because jewel is not just jewel, but wish fulfilling jewel. And wish fulfilling jewel is supposed to be a something jewel that if you have, then whatever you wish happens. So compassion is represented by that wish fulfilling jewel, because it is understood that if you have compassion, then you have peace of mind. You have no longer any negative emotions, because all negative emotions are opposite of the compassion. So therefore, you have accomplished all you have become happy, you have freed from your suffering, if you really have compassion. And if you have compassion, then you necessarily work for the benefit of others. So therefore, you do things that will help other beings. So you necessarily help others. So compassion is something that is good for you and good for others. That helps myself and that helps others. So it's like the wish-fulfilling jewel. And when Padma represents the purity, pure, unstained. Because the lotus flower is said to be something that, even if it is growing in the kind of the most dirty areas, where there are lots of kind of dust and, pollution and things like that, the lotus flower is always, kind of clean and, unstained. There is a kind of something chemical there. So therefore, it represents something unstained, something totally, unpollutable. So that is represented, it represents the wisdom. Because when you have the wisdom, when you know the nature of yourself and others, then nothing can hurt you, nothing can make you fear or have attachment. So therefore you are totally free. So therefore Padma represents the wisdom. So Mani, Padma, compassion, wisdom. Whom? Whom means I am. So when you say Om Mani Padme Hum, I am the wisdom and compassion. So when you say this mantra, I am the wisdom and compassion, I am the wisdom and compassion. In a way, you are kind of you are feeling that wisdom and compassion sentencing in front of you, and saying that wisdom and compassion actually is in every being, because sentencing is not somebody, who was totally different from everybody else. He was as much as a being as I am, as much as a being as anybody else. But because he kind of generated the bodhicitta and worked with this, wisdom and compassion, worked on it, generated that, brought out, his natural wisdom and compassion, uncovered his natural wisdom and compassion and became the Genesis. So therefore that seed, that nature, that potential is in me and in every being. So through the kind of the power or through the kind of the inspiration, or through the blessing, if you want to call it, of Genesis, I would like to kindle, I would like to bring out, I would like to make blossom that wisdom and compassion in myself and in all other beings too. So with that as a suggestion to myself, with that as a prayer, if you want, then I feel that from the Sadhasic, if I want, I can also kind of, because it is something feeling, it has to be feeling, it's not thinking. Feeling that from Sadhasic, lights radiate, blessings of wisdom, compassion and healing lights radiate. And I feel that it's kind of, it goes into me, with warmth, with some feeling, that with that I feel myself totally purified. I feel that my negative karma, my negative emotions, and all the result of those negative karma and negative emotions, my feeling bad, my feeling sick, my all kind of diseases and obstacles and everything is totally purified and healed. And I am transformed. I feel totally different. I feel the compassion, I feel the wisdom, I feel the healing power in myself. And I feel that is happening to all the sentient beings around me. I feel that not only me, but every being is happening like that, is purified, is healed, and is, totally kind of transformed. And then let my mind settle in that, relax in that, and say the mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum. What I am doing is that, I'm doing compassion practically. I'm not, thinking about compassion. I'm not conceptualizing it. I'm not saying, oh, you poor, this person suffering so bad. Not like that. That's kind of a painful kind of compassion. Here I am actualizing compassion. I'm feeling the result of compassion, not the cause of the compassion. I'm feeling the compassion itself. I'm feeling the wisdom. And I'm allowing every being to feel that. I'm kind of allowing myself to liberate all the people. So I'm not, wishing that to happen. I am feeling it's already happened. There's very lots of difference. Wishing to be happening is one thing. That is, I know it's not happened. It's not happened. I want to happen it, maybe not happening. Maybe can happen, maybe not. It's difficult to happen. That's one way of thinking. Now here, I'm feeling that it's already happened. Everybody is purified, everybody is healed, everybody is totally transformed. I too, and I let that mind settle in that. When I'm doing that, what I'm doing is that I'm actually having the, that experience of Sadhasic, the fully, accomplished compassion and wisdom. I'm actually feeling that. And because there is nobody who is suffering, I feel that there is nobody else who is suffering, nobody else who is not pure, nobody else who is not transformed. So therefore, my full concentration or full focus of the mind is only positive. So however long I can stay in that state, I'm exercising to be totally pure, totally compassionate, totally positive, and totally kind of healed and transformed. That's how we call it using the result as the path. With that, so you can do this practice also. This is also there. There, when you kind of you can sometimes feel the form of the Sadhasic, or maybe just the smiling and most compassionate face, or most compassionate eyes, or the jewel, wish-fulfilling jewel, beautiful blue jewel, or any, on the lotus flower, on the whole body very beautiful and youthful, and the compassionate. You can relax your mind in that. Or you can feel all the sentient beings, the presence of them. Or you can feel the healed part of them, healing part of them, purifying part of them, Or you can just relax in that natural state. You don't have to focus on anything. Let your mind settle down in that, pure compassion and totally relaxedness. And not focus on anything. This way, you are working on all the aspects. And if you have a little bit understanding of what wisdom is, then you can relax in that. You have, you have the vipassana meditation. So this is how this practice is done. So I just give a little bit of this, not because I am selling the book. We have bought lots of book also, and all the proceedings of this book, a very generous lady sponsored to publish this book. And then she said, everything that's coming out of this book will go to Ringu Trust. That's, my trust, which sponsors a school and a clinic in my area where I was born, in Ringu, a very remote part of Tibet. Very, very grateful for you to buy this. It's a little bit expensive, I think, but still. And also, I have seen and I have met some of you here who seems to be really very ardent Tibet supporters. There was one lady here, she's not here now, Caroline. I didn't know about her, but I heard that and I saw that she was doing lots of things for Tibet, and she even received an award for that recently. So many of you seems to be doing that. So I'm really grateful for that. Usually, we Tibetans, lamas, don't talk too much about Tibet. Don't talk too much about politics, because when we are here to try to share some of the Dharma things and things that might benefit you, then we talk too much about what I need and what I want. It's not so nice. So we don't talk too much about that. And sometimes people misunderstand it and say that, these lamas, have forgotten their country. They don't talk about that. Some Tibetans feel like that. But anyway, it doesn't matter. But we also feel, of course, gone through the whole process. Of course, His Holiness Dalai Lama says that we should not hate Chinese. Of course, we don't hate Chinese. Why should we hate Chinese? Chinese themselves have lots of problems also. But the problems there that we all know. And recently there was even this, what we call it, WikiLeaks. The WikiLeaks said Dalai Lama. There was a WikiLeaks about Dalai Lama also. It said that Dalai Lama said that the Tibetan ecology, environment problem is more important than politics. But that's not a secret, actually. That's not a leak. He tells everybody all the time. He says that the political problems can wait, he says. But this environment problem cannot wait, he says. Because if all the mount kind of snow is melted and everything is, and then you cannot create it again, it's gone. And if all the snow in Tibet melts, then it is said that there will be great water crisis all over Asia, because Tibet is the source of water, rivers for everywhere in Asia. China, India, Pakistan, Burma, Thailand, Indonesia, all this, not Indonesia, but all these countries, this Mekong River goes through, I think, 9 countries or something like that. So about 2 billion people will be affected, they say. And that's one effect only of water, and then all other effects. So it's a very serious case, and it's not only for Tibet, but everybody. So therefore, all of you who are supporting Tibet and all this kind of Tibetan is very good, very helpful actually, I think. So far, although Tibet didn't get freedom, but it seems to be bothering Chinese a lot. And that shows that something is going on. It's kind of prickly, at least. And that's because of the people all the world, kind of talking about it and giving support and things like that. Not because of the Tibetans. Tibetans are nothing. It's just a little bit like that. It's so little, so few, and so much kind of under control. So therefore, I just wanted to mention that. Other than that, I have nothing to say anymore. So if you have any questions, you are most welcome.